Tell me when to start.
Start.
Oh, it's 9:12. What is? Okay.
Yes.
Hi everybody, welcome to another edition of Mobility Flow Live. As always, we're going to take a few moments in the beginning just to go over the synopsis of the class and just allow a few moments for people to filter in. So today's class is going to be a tough one, but it's a super important one.
Sorry.
My husband dropped a pillow. We're going to talk about, this is what happens when you're live. We're going to talk about the really important relationship between the hip flexor muscles, which are the hip muscles that are in the front of the leg, as well as the abdominal muscles. They work hand in hand with each other to create tension and to allow us to move our torso and to move our legs. So we're going to kind of focus on how can I build tension in both of these muscles, well, multiple muscles, to build strength. So what you're going to need for today's class, again, is just your 2 blocks or your 2 books. That's about it. And again, we're going to try to really focus on using the muscles of the hip crease to build tension in the lower abdominals especially, which is oftentimes where a lot of people have a hard time connecting to, which is their low abdominals. So we're gonna kind of build that relationship between the hip flexors and abdominals. So let's take maybe about another 30 seconds or so just to allow people to filter in. If anyone has any questions that they wanna pull up, please feel free to ask them now. If you're saying hi, I say hi back. And yeah, we'll get going from there. We'll just take a couple more seconds and then we'll get going. So quick little thing, some of these movements will be hard for some people. Well, they should be hard for everybody. They're hard for me, but they're super, super important because abdominal strength and hip flexor strength sets a foundation for pretty much every type of movement that we do in our training world. Squats, hinging patterns, push-up patterns, pull patterns. So this is a really, really important class to do. So let's get going. Cool? Okay, so take both of your blocks, have them handy near you, but you're just gonna need, actually you're gonna need both of them to start. So have both of them handy nearby, but then one of them in your hand, and go ahead and prop over onto your back. All right, so you're gonna start in our kind of usual position that we've kind of been consistently starting in. So constructive rest with our knees bent and our feet flat on the floor. Now, if you're someone who tends to feel a little bit cranky in the low back, this is where you may choose to stay. But what I'd actually like us to do is to start in a elevated or supported constructive rest. So we're actually going to take one of our props, our block or our book, and we're going to keep it at the lowest height, and we're going to go ahead and lift our hips and slide the block underneath, kind of like the base of the tailbone. Now, if your block is too high up, the edge of your bum is going to kind of roll off, and you're going to have this big arch in your spine. So this is what we want to avoid. So I want you to take that block and bring it down more towards the tailbone area, and then I want you to feel like your rib cage is melting down and your hip bones are melting down. Okay? We're just going to hang out here for a moment. So we're just starting to release the front of the body, as we're going to be working a lot with the anterior muscles, or the muscles in the front of the legs, the hip creases, and the abdomen. So let's just take a moment here, take a breath or two. And don't worry about getting into a relaxed state. We're just kind of prepping the body. So just allow yourself to become a little bit still. Maybe take some breaths in through the nose, maybe out through the mouth. And try to make that breath audible to you. And if at any time this block is bothering your lower back, go ahead and get rid of it and come back to your constructive rest. And just watch that you're not overly arching through that low back and middle spine. Let the rib cage descend down, as well as the front of your hip bones. And just start the process of sort of settling through that back body. Letting that front body come down towards that back body. All right, so let's take 2 breaths here, and then we're gonna kind of get right into it. One more breath. Okay, go ahead and take your outer hips, lift them up, slide the block out from underneath you, and then just allow yourself to descend to the floor. And then take a moment here with the feet flat on the floor and just allow that lower back to melt down into the mat or the floor beneath you. And then again, just take a moment here. We're just kind of getting rid of the elevation that we had and just allowing ourselves to come down. All right, so we're gonna get going right away. So we're gonna start with a common core exercise that a lot of you may know. We're gonna start with dead bug. And then we're gonna do some variations of that. So you're gonna take one of your blocks and you're gonna put it behind your head, kind of like a little pillow. This is just gonna kind of get rid of any postural or structural issues that some of us may have. And you can always choose to get rid of the block as well, but it just allows the head to stay a little bit more neutral for most people. All right, so make sure you know your rights and lefts because this is where it gets a little confusing. So we're gonna start with a 90-degree angle with our legs. So first thing I wanna do is I wanna actively use the front of my belly to push my lower back in towards the floor. And if you watched when I did that, my tailbone scooped underneath me. So I wanna keep that lower back into the floor, and I wanna bring my legs up to 90 degrees with my ankles flexed. So knees right over hip creases. And then I'm gonna start with my arms over my chest, palms facing one another. Now the priority with the first amount of work that we're going to be doing is to maintain that lower back in towards the floor. The second your low back starts to pop off, you're gonna strain the lower back muscles, but you're also not gonna be working your abdominals. So I want you to really work to push that lower back into the floor. Now, all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my right arm alongside my ear and my left leg out straight. I'm gonna do it simultaneously. And there I go. Now I'm gonna try to maintain the leg and the arm straight. Now a common thing I see is people hover their leg too close to the floor. And then this pops the left side of the lower back up off the ground. And again, they're not really working their abdominals. So I want you to bring that leg up as high as you need. That's gonna allow you to maintain the left side of the lower back in towards the floor. And then hold there for a moment. A lot of us do this way too quickly. Feel the tension that's accruing in that belly muscle. And then slowly bring all of that work right back up to the starting position. Slow is better, guys. So now I'm gonna do the same thing opposite. So left arm goes alongside my ear, right leg go ahead and pop out straight. Again, I don't wanna be down here. There goes my low back. Abdominal muscles just does not feel good. So I'm gonna bring that up as high as I need to keep that lower back in towards the floor. Hold there. And then I go ahead and bring that back up. So now you guys got the gist of it. Let's just go back and forth. So right arm, left leg. Now the key to this is controlling your limbs. Don't just flimsy around. Let everything be nice and controlled. Use the hip crease, use the low belly, and then slowly bring that right back up and then switch sides. So left arm, right leg. And you may have to adjust your lower back in towards the floor with each rep. I know sometimes I do, I have to do a little check. So go ahead and come back to that. And then come back up. Let's do one more here. Right arm, left leg, nice and slow. Try not to let your torso move all around. Keep that lower back in towards the floor. Go ahead and bring that back up. Let's switch. So left arm alongside the ear, right leg goes out straight. Push that lower back in towards the floor. Hold there. Good. And then slowly bring that right back up. And then just kind of pull your knees into your chest. Relax. Awesome. Okay, so now that we know what we're doing, let's do this one more time. But I'm not going to talk. We're just going to work going opposite, opposite, opposite. Keep your lower back in towards the floor. Keep your torso nice and still. Here we go. Let's do one more time. So push the lower back into the floor. Bring those legs up. Arms up. Okay, and I'll just talk you through the arm and leg we're gonna do. So right arm, left leg. Bring that right back up. Left arm, right leg. Bring that right back up. Right arm, left leg. Bring that right back up. Left arm, right leg. Bring that right back up. Right arm, left leg. Back up. Left arm, right leg. Back up. One more each. Right arm, left leg. Back up. And left arm, right leg. Pull that back up, and then go ahead and put your feet back on the floor. Awesome. So now we're going to do some variations of this. So we're going to need your second block, okay? Now again, if you're not feeling your abdominals working, you got to work harder to push that low back in towards the floor. So now we're going to try a variation of this. So this is one I love. So I'm going to bring my right knee towards my chest. I'm going to take my block, and it's going to be kind of horizontal to me, and I'm going to go ahead and put that block on my right thigh. Then I'm going to make a fist with my right arm, and I'm going to put my elbow on that block, and I'm going to hold it in place. Now I want to think of using the right side of my abdominals to push that elbow into the block and the block into the leg. Now all I'm going to do is take a dead bug position with my left side. So I'm going to push the low back in towards the floor. I'm going to bring the left leg up to 90 degrees and the left arm right up. Now all I'm going to do is, keeping that right side intact, is I'm going to take my left leg out and my left arm alongside the ear. Good. Then I'm going to bring that back up to 90 degrees. Again, extend out. Pull it in. Make sure you're pushing the elbow into the block. Again, extend. And back for 3. Let's go for 10. Extend. Nice and slow and controlled. Pull it back in. Good. And extend for 5. Think about using the hip crease and the low abdominals to bring the leg back up. Go ahead. Last 5 here. Extend. And up. Good. Extend. Back up. Good. And 7. Whoo. And good. And 8. And good. 2 more, guys. Keep pushing that elbow into the block. And 9. And up. Last one here. And 10. And up. Awesome. Go ahead and relax. Now again, before I switch to the other side, I want you to really think about how the thigh, how the hip crease, how the low abdominals are working together to pull all of that back up. We're not using momentum from the low back to pull the leg up. We're using the hip crease and the low abdominals. Cool? All right, so let's switch to the other side. So I'm going to bring my left leg in and take my block. Now my left elbow, I like to make a fist because it just encourages you to create tension. Push that elbow into the block. Push that low back into the floor. Right leg up, right arm up. Here we go. Push that elbow into the block, and then we extend. I want to think about control, pulling it back up. Extend. Good. Think about nice and slow. What muscles am I using? Extend, hip crease, low abdominals. Good. Think about pushing your belly down. Extend. And extend. Good. And extend. Good. And extend. Good. 3 more, guys. Extend for 3. Back up. And 2. Back up. Good. And 1. Back up. Awesome. Beautiful. Go ahead and relax that. Hopefully you guys are feeling your abdominals by now. I sure am. It's definitely not easy to talk and do this. All right, next variation. This one is a little tricky. Again, they're all with the same priority, pushing the low back in towards the floor and using the hip crease muscles and the low abdominals to extend the leg and pull it back in. So it's sort of low skill, but we got to focus on keeping the tension. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my block and I'm going to pull my legs back up to 90 degrees. So I'm going to push that low back into the floor, legs up 90 degrees. Now, horizontal to me again, I'm going to put my block across my thighs. And then what I actually want to do is I actually want to cross my forearms over the block and then bring the heels of my hands together. So now I'm using the strength of my upper body and my lower body to hold that block in place. Now this is where it gets a little tricky. Keep maintaining the low back into the floor. Now all I want to do is push my left forearm bone into the block as I extend my right leg out straight. So now my block is kind of floating mid-air on that right side, but I'm keeping it in place with the tension on my left forearm. Then I'm going to slowly pull that back up. Now I'm going to push the right forearm into the block, and I'm going to extend my left leg. Awesome. And I'm going to keep going like that. So as I pull it back in, I create tension with the opposite forearm. Awesome. Good. Keep going. Left leg extends. Good. We're going to do a few sets of this, so we're only going to do small reps here. Extend. Pull it back in. Whew. Extend. Pull it back in. Let's do one more each. Put that left forearm into the block. Extend the leg. Pull it back in. Right forearm into block. Extend. Pull it back in. Awesome. Go ahead and relax. That one is not easy. We're going to try that again. Don't worry if your block felt like it was falling all over the place or it fell off your legs. That's okay. Really work to push the opposite forearm into the block as the opposite leg extends so your block has tension. Cool? Can we try this again? Good. I'm glad you agree. All right, here we go. So I'm going to push that low back into the floor. Bring my legs back up. Clasp my forearms together. And then really think about pushing my low back in towards the floor. Here we go. Left forearm goes into block. Right leg extends. Keep your throat nice and open, your face relaxed. Pull it back in. Right forearm into block. Left leg goes. Pull it back in. Left forearm into block. Right leg goes. Pull it back in. Right forearm into block. Left leg goes. Pull it back in. Left forearm into block. Right leg goes. Pull it back in. Right forearm into block. Left leg goes. Pull it back in. Two more each. Left forearm into block. Right leg goes. Pull it back in. Right forearm into block. Left leg. One more here. Left forearm. Right leg. Whew. Pull it back in. Right forearm. Left leg. Whew. Pull it back in. Awesome. And then relax. Whew. That one is tough, 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 tough. Beautiful. All right, guys. One last variation here on our backs. And then we're going to come on up and we're going to work with some variations of plank. So, this one, I keep saying this, that they're all tough. This one is real tough. All right, so now this is where we're going to really work to find how our hip muscles and our low abdominals are working together. You'll probably feel a lot, especially deep down to that low belly. That's good. We're trying to chase that feeling. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my block and I'm going to squeeze it in between my inner thighs. Now, you can keep your arms on the floor with palms facing down, especially if you feel like you need that brace. A little bit more of a challenge would be having your arms up. It's up to you guys. Let me demonstrate one so you guys can see what I'm going to do. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to push my low back in the floor and I'm going to bring my legs up to 90 degrees. Now, keeping that low back into the floor, I'm going to squeeze my inner thighs into the block. And then for a count of 5, I'm going to take my legs forward for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now maybe your heels actually touch the floor. Then I'm going to use the low abdominals to bring those legs back up. Now, if your low back starts to pop up off the floor as your legs go, don't bring your heels all the way to the floor. Maybe this is your end point and you keep the low back on the floor and your legs back up. So your heels may not touch the ground. That's fine. They only may go here. That's okay too. Okay? The objective is to see how far I can take my legs to the floor without letting my low back pop off. Cool? All right, let's give this a whirl. Not easy. So let's start at 90 degrees. I'm going to go ahead and squeeze my block because my inner thighs are part of the abdominals. Take my arms up or on the floor. Push my low back on the floor. Squeeze my block. Here I go. I'm going to take my legs forward for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Use the low abdominals to bring them back up. Again, squeeze. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Low abdominals, back up. Squeeze again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Low belly, pull back up. Again, squeeze. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Back up. Good. Again, squeeze. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Back up. Let's try 3 more here, guys. Squeeze. Go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Back up. Squeeze. Last 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Bring it back up. And last one. Squeeze. Go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Back up. I lied. Let's do 2 more. Squeeze. Go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Use that low belly to pull the legs up. Last one. Squeeze. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And up. Get rid of your block. Take a moment. Maybe stretch that out. Hopefully you're feeling a lot in that low belly. All right, guys. Let's come up to a seated position. Go ahead and make your way on up. All right. So we're going to work with just an isolated movement here to actually find our hip flexors. So we're going to start with one block. And I'm going to take my legs quite wide, maybe about a little bit wider than that distance apart. And then I'm going to take my block to the lowest height, and I'm going to put it in the center in between both legs, but then I'm going to kick it a little bit over towards the right leg. So it's just a little bit off center. It's a little bit closer towards that right leg. Now, I like toes pointed, but you can do them flexed, whatever feels good for you. Now, we want to try to mimic what we did on our backs, trying to use the hip muscles and the abdominal muscles to move our legs without moving anything else on our body. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my arms out in front of me. Now I want to think that I'm on my back. I want to push my lower back in towards the floor. So see how I created a hollow position? So instead of being upright here, I want to think of pushing my low back in towards the floor. And I want you to hold that tension. Now from your hip crease, I want you to try to take your right leg and lift it. It's not going to be easy. And I want to take that right leg and I want to swing it over the block, and I want to drop it down until it lands on the left side of the block. And I want to keep that hollowness. Now I want to take my leg and lift it and swing it up and over until it drops. Okay, relax for a second. All right, so we're going to do that for reps. Let's go over some things to try to avoid. We want to try to avoid swinging, okay, because you could do this for days. Okay, we want just the leg to move and everything else in the pelvis to stay nice and still. All right, let's try this. We're going to go for 10 each leg. So, arms out in front of me, hollow through my abdomen, flex or point the toes. Now I'm going to use that low belly to lift the leg and sweep it up and over. Tap. Up and over. Tap. Lots of control. Up and over. Tap. Your quad might burn. Up and over. Tap. Your quad's part of your hip flexors. Up and over. Tap. Low belly. Up and over. Tap. Keep going, guys. Up and over. Tap. Up and over. Whoo. Quad a lot. Again. Up and over. Tap. Up and over. Tap. Last 5 here, and then we'll switch sides. Up. Swing. Try not to let your pelvis move. Up. Swing. Think of the belly. You can even hold the sides of your waist if that allows you to create more tension. Up and over. Last 3. Up and over. Up and over. Quad might be shaking. 2 more. Up and over. And up and over. Last one. Up and over. And up and over. Whew. Beautiful. Not easy. Your quad might be dying. Now, if you didn't cross your block, if you kept hitting it, okay, that's okay. Maybe get rid of it and focus on trying to lift the leg as high, okay? If you want that added challenge, you're gonna try to lift your leg higher. So now we're gonna take our block, swing it more over towards the left side, and then do the same thing. Arms either out in front of you, or to the side of the waist, or if that felt really challenging, you can bring your hands to the floor. It will brace you a little bit more. So again, I want to create that hollow position. So I want to think of pushing my low back in towards the floor, okay? Either arms where you choose. Create that tension. Here I go, 10 of them here. Lift up and over. And if your block is too close, go ahead and move it up and over. 10 here, guys. I like to keep a focal point to stare at so that I can really focus on what I'm doing. Up. Good. Up. Good. Think of controlling the leg, keeping the tension in the abdominals. Good. This is number 5 here. Up and over. Take breaks if you need them. Up and over. Good. Last 5 here. Up. Trying to let my torso move. I want to think that that leg is the only thing that's going. 4 more here. Up. 3 more. 2 more. Keep the tension. Up and over. Tap. Up and over. Tap. 1 more. Up and over. Tap and up and over. Tap. Awesome. Beautiful. All right, guys. I know that one's not easy. All right, guys. Go ahead and get rid of your block. Give your legs a little shake if you need it. All right. Okay, so now this is where we get fancy. So we want to try to use what we just created by controlling our leg, and now we want to see if we can combine the abdominals with the hips. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your legs out in front of you. They don't have to be together, but just kind of close together. And then I want you to feel like you're folding a little bit forward of your hips, and I want you to make what I call spider fingers, and I want you to bring them to kind of maybe either side to the knees, maybe a little bit higher. All right. Now with those spider fingers, my fingers are meant to be really light. I want to feel like most of the tension is coming from my low abdominals. So I want to create that hollow position. So I don't want to be upright. I want to think of pushing my low back into the floor, hollowing out through my belly, rounding through my upper back. Now, from the right leg, all I'm going to do is press down into my fingers, and I'm going to use the low belly to take my right leg and lift it up and drop it down. That's it. Now, I don't want to swing, and I don't want to move my body. I want to keep everything hollow, and my leg just goes. So let's try 10 of these. So light fingers, round through the upper back, hollow through the abdomen. Here we go, right leg. I go 1, 2, 3, 4, use the low belly, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Awesome. Now don't lose your hollowness. Let's try the left side. Here we go. Create that tension. Left side, here I go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Awesome. Good. Now we're going to try both legs. Now, a lot of people, both legs ain't going to happen. So that's okay. Try it. If you can't get both legs, you're going to go back to, because we're going to do 2 sets of 10, you're going to go back to doing 10 on the right leg and then 10 on the left leg. Now, if you're doing both legs, it's going to look like this. You're going to keep that hollowness. I'm going to push down, and then I want to use the low belly to lift up for 1, 2. Okay, so it looks like that. Again, I'm not leaning back. If that doesn't work, if your feet do not lift, go back to 10 on the right leg and 10 on the left. Let's give this a try. So, positioning is everything. Set up my fingers, hollow through my belly, round through my upper back. If you're doing one leg, you're going to start with the right. If we're going to do both, here we go. Press into the fingers and go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Murder. All right, if you did one leg, now you're going to do the left leg. If you did both, we're going to try another set. Here we go. Keep my fingertips. Positioning is everything. Hollow and round. Press down through the fingers. Use the low belly tension. Here I go for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Really good job, guys. All right, give that a shake. All right, take a swig of water if you need it. Now we're going to go on to some variations of plank using the tension we created in the hip flexors. So we're going to just start with the plank hold to start, just so we can set the foundation and feel what a plank should actually feel like. So let's come on forward to hands and knees. So again, we want to set up that hand placement. So one thing we want to avoid is the shoulder rolling inward and the elbows pointing out. Maybe take your hands, maybe experiment with turning them out a little bit. And then I want you to really emphasize from your upper arm bones is turning your inner biceps forward. So without moving your hands, you can move your arm bones, which is going to move our shoulders. So I want to really work to spin my inner biceps forward. All right, so let's just start with the plank hold. Simple little plank hold. So I'm going to set that hand placement up. Now, I want my plank to be a reverse of a hollow body hold. So in a hollow body hold, our upper back is quite rounded and our belly is hollow. So that's what our plank would want to look like flipped over. So I'm going to set my hands up and we're just going to start with that plank hold. So I want to think of turning my inner biceps forward, push the shoulder blades to the ceiling, step my legs back, and then I want to think of scooping the butt underneath me, push those shoulder blades up, back of the neck remains long, and then hold. Keep pushing actively down to the heels of the hand, push those shoulder blades up to the sky, and think of scooping the butt underneath you so you're finding that tension. Let's hold here for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Carefully set the knees down. Beautiful. Good. All right. So now we're going to try some variations of that. A couple things I want you to watch out for in your plank. Try not to let your belly sink down to the floor or your hips lift too high. Think about finding that nice, hollow, rounded position from the shoulders all the way to the bottom. All right, so now we're going to try that plank hold, but we're going to try to lift 1 foot at a time and hold that for 10 counts. Cool? All right, here we go. So, set my hands up, turn my inner biceps straight ahead. I'm going to step back into plank, and I'm going to find my position, push shoulder blades to ceiling, scoop the butt. Now without changing anything, right toes lift up. Hips stay level, right hip doesn't sink. I'm going to hold for 10, 5, drop those toes, stay there, left toes pick up. Keep pushing the shoulder blades to the ceiling, scoop the butt underneath you, hold for 10, 5, 2, 1. Drop the toes, carefully set the knees down. Beautiful. All right, guys. Next variation. We're going to do 2 sets of this one. So now we're going to work on some leg slides. I'm going to demonstrate first, just because I want you guys to keep your heads down, and I want you to kind of avoid staring at the camera and watching me. I want you to really focus on what you're doing. So I'm going to demonstrate first. So we're going to do these slides, and we're going to really use those hip flexors to create that abdominal strength. So I'm just going to show you 2, because you're going to do 10, but I'm just going to show you 2, and you guys are going to see what you're doing first. So same position, come back to my plank. Now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to uncurl my right toes. So see how the top of my foot is on the floor? Now I'm going to use those hip crease muscles to pull my knee to my chest. And then I'm going to slide back. Then I'm going to pull it in. You're going to do 10. Now on number 10, I'm going to push the shoulder blades to the ceiling, pull my thigh up to my chest, and lift my foot. Good. And then I'm going to step back. Good. And then I'm going to drop. Cool? So you guys are going to do 10. So 10 slides, and on the 10th one, you're going to pull the knee up to the chest and hold. Cool? Awesome. All right. I wish I had you guys in front of me so I can see if anyone's dying or not. Because I'm dying. Demonstrating this and talking is not easy. All right. So right leg, here I go first. I'm going to step back into my plank now that I've set the foundation, which is the key to all movement. So here I go. Push the shoulder blades, scoop the bum, right toes uncurl. Here I go. Pull the leg in for 1. Slide back. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now hold 10. Push the shoulder blades to the ceiling, pull the leg up, lift the foot, and hold for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Step back plank. Push the shoulder blades to the ceiling. Drop the knees. Good. So you guys can see how pulling the knee was very much mimicking what we were doing with the leg lifts and the opposite leg lifts. Cool? All right, let's try the left side. Here we go. All right. And then I'll get you guys off your hands for a little bit. Okay, so I'm gonna try left side, nice and controlled. Set my hands up, here I go. Push shoulder blades to the sky, step back plank. Push shoulder blades, scoop the butt, uncurl the left toes. Neck remains long. Here I go. 1, 2, 3, 4, use the low belly. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, hold. Push the shoulder blades, lift the foot, hold. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Step back plank, push shoulder blades to the sky, drop the knees. Whew, beautiful. Really good job, everybody. Hopefully you guys are sweating like me and dying a little bit. All right, beautiful. We're gonna move on. Okay, so this next section is a little tough. It all has been tough, but this is where we're gonna really see if we can channel those hip flexors and those low abdominals. We're gonna break this down into parts, then we're gonna put it all together, okay? So we're just gonna break this down really into those small little segments, and we're gonna put it together. So we're gonna start with a hollow body hold, then we're gonna go to a seated hollow body hold, then we're gonna try to go back and forth and put them together. All right, so let's just start with the hollow body, see what that feels like. A lot of you have done this before, but you'll see what we're gonna do in a second. So, this is where I gotta really use my low abdominals and my shoulder blades lifting, so I almost look like I am doing plank, but on my back. So, I'm gonna take my arms up, I'm gonna push my low back into the floor, I'm gonna bring my legs up to 90 degrees. Now I wanna think that I'm about to do a sit-up. So I'm gonna round my shoulder blades up and take my arms on either sides of my legs. And I wanna really actively push that low back into the floor, and then I wanna extend my legs out in front of me. And I wanna bring them as high as I need to maintain that low back into the floor. Now I wanna reach as I push that low back down, and let's hold here for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pull the knees in, relax. Okay, let's try that again. Okay, so here I go. I'm gonna push the low back into the floor, bring the legs up 90 degrees, arms up over my chest, round my shoulder blades up like a sit-up, tuck the chin slightly. The more you pick the shoulder blades up, the less work your neck is gonna do. Push that lower back, extend the legs out, squeeze them together, push that low back down and hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hug the knees in, relax. Okay, now we're gonna try a seated version of this. So I'm gonna go ahead and prop up back to my seat. All right, so again, this is a version of a seated hollow body hold. So it kind of looks exactly like hollow body, but with the legs at 90 degrees and flipped over. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna sit on my butt, I'm gonna squeeze my legs together, and I wanna create that hollow position. So I'm gonna send my low back to the floor, and now I've got that rounding through my upper back. Now what I wanna do is I wanna pull my heels in and lift them up off the floor. Now I wanna think that I'm trying to bring my thighs and my chest towards one another, and then I wanna swing my legs up to 90 degrees and take my arms out in front of me. Okay, so if I was to flip you on your back, this would look like the starting position that we got into for that hollow body hold. So I'm gonna squeeze my legs together, I'm gonna hollow through my abdomen and round through my shoulder blades. And I'm gonna hold here. Good. Your legs might be quivering. Think about using your hip creases to pull your chest to your thighs and your thighs to your chest. Hold for 5, 3, 1. Relax down. Awesome. Let's try that again. Now for some of you, you might feel your lower back a lot in that one. Very, very common. It means that you have to work a little harder to create a hollow, rounded position. Okay, think about everything we've been doing all class. So let's try that again, and then we're gonna see if we can put this together. All right, so here I go. Hollow position, low back hollow, pull my heels in, pull my chest to my thighs, bring my legs up 90 degrees, sweep my arms alongside of me, squeeze and round. Think of that hollow, hollow position. Belly nice and tight. Pull my chest to my thighs. Hold here for 5, 3, 1. Relax. Okay, now we're gonna put this together. So we're gonna start with the simple version, and then we're gonna make it a little bit more complex. So we're gonna be going from this position to hollow body. All right, so let's try this. So I'm gonna start in that same position again. We've done both of these positions. Now we're just putting them together. So I wanna squeeze my legs. I wanna hollow my abdomen, pull my legs in, bring my shin bones parallel to the ceiling, arms out in front of me. Now I wanna really hollow that belly, and I wanna squeeze my legs. Now I wanna think, how can I get down to a hollow body hold? How do I do this? I take my legs out in front of me until they straighten. I hollow my abdomen until the only thing that's on the floor is my low back. Here I am in my hollow body. Squeeze my legs, round it through my shoulder blades, hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pull the knees into the chest, relax the shoulder blades down. Awesome, come on up. Make sense, guys? So we went from that seated hollow body to that extended hollow body. We're gonna try a few of these, then we're gonna see if we can go back and forth. Seated hollow to hollow, back to seated to hollow, and back and back and back. All right, here we go. Let's try that again. Nice and controlled as you do this. Abdomen hollow, arms out in front of me, shin bones parallel to the ceiling, hollow. Hold here, squeeze the legs. Now I want to be controlled so I don't just plummet on my low back. So legs go out in front of me. Push my belly button down towards my low back. Slowly get down until the only thing that's on the floor is my low back. Pick those shoulder blades up. Hold for 5. Your abdomen might be shaking. 4, 3, 2, 1. Hug the knees into the chest. Roll yourself back up. Let's try it again. Here I go. Set myself. And here, hollow. Squeeze the legs. Hold. Good, now I go hollow body. Legs out in front of me. Push that low back down towards the floor. Come on down. Squeeze the legs, reach, hold. Good, hug the knees in, relax. Roll back up. Let's try one more, then we're gonna see if we can go back and forth. All right, last one here. I'm sweating buckets, I don't know about you guys. All right, abdomen hollow, legs up, shin bones parallel to the ceiling, arms alongside of you, belly nice and tight, squeeze. Don't worry if you're having trouble with this one, guys. It's a hard one, it takes time. Here I go, legs out in front of me. Lower back, push it down towards the floor. Hold my hollow body position, squeeze the legs, round the shoulder blades up, hold. Good, good, good. Hold 5 more seconds. And relax. All right, come back up. Okay, now while you guys take a break, I'm gonna explain what we're gonna do. Now, if that felt like 10 out of 10 challenging, you're probably gonna wanna stay there. If you're like, I wanna see what's next. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna try to go back and forth, which means that you're not gonna drop down onto your back after that first hollow body. So let me just show you one while you guys are taking a break, and you will decide if you wanna attempt this. Super challenging. So I'm gonna start in my seated hollow body. Then I'm gonna go into my hollow body. Now, this is where I have to use my quads, my hip crease, and my low abdominals to come right back up into that seated hollow body. Then I go back again. Then I use that low belly to come back up, pull it in. Okay? Now, you might have to use a little bit of momentum to get to that hollow body, to the seated hollow body, but what I want you to try to avoid is like swinging the body to get up. think about using more scrunching the belly and the chest towards one another. Can we attempt this? Good. Now, if you're like, nope, no way, I don't want to try that, you're going to go back to that first variation that we did, where you went from the seated hollow body to the hollow body, then you hugged your knees into your chest, and you came back up. Cool? All right, let's give this a whirl. All right. Okay, here I go. So I gotta create my tension first. Hollow through my abdomen, pull my legs up 90 degrees, arms alongside of me, hollow that abdomen. Here I go, legs out straight, lower down. Only thing that's on the floor is the low back. Push that low back into the floor. Now I gotta think of squeezing my belly to my thighs, pull back up, seated hollow body. Awesome, now let's go back hollow body. Legs out straight, low back down and towards the floor. Hold. Now I think of pulling everything back towards one another. Squeeze, take that hollowness. Again, legs out straight, low back down and towards the floor. Create the tension through the belly, pull up. Awesome, let's try 2 more. Legs out straight, push that low back down and towards the floor. Hollow through the abdomen. Now I'm gonna pull it all up together. Create that hollowness, squeeze the legs. 2 more. Legs out straight. Push that low back down and towards the floor. Hold. Low belly, pull up. Good squeeze. 1 more here, guys. Legs out straight. Hollow body down. Hold belly to the floor. From the hip creases and the thighs. Oh gosh, pull up. Hold, 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 hold. Relax. Whew. Awesome. Not an easy one. If you were struggling, if you got stuck in the hollow body and couldn't bring yourself back up, that's okay. This may have been your first time doing this. Practice makes progress. Okay, we have 1 more last little piece to do, and then we'll cool down. All right, so now we're gonna work onto our forearm. So we're just gonna start with a forearm side plank, but then we're going to use those hip flexors to create tension. So I'm gonna come on into my forearm side plank. So we kind of discussed this a little bit in our previous core class. So what I wanna do with my forearm bone is I wanna make a fist, and I wanna drop my forearm down to a 45-degree angle. So my shoulder is roughly over my elbow, and I have this rough kind of 45-degree angle with my forearm. Now, what I wanna do from there is I wanna step back into a forearm side plank. So I'm gonna look back at my feet. I'm gonna step back. I'm gonna shift the weight to the outer edge of my right foot. I'm gonna stack my left leg on top. I'm gonna turn my chest open and take my top arm up. Now, you can always put the top foot on the floor in front of you if you need a little bit more stability. Otherwise, your legs are stacked, and I want you to pull that bottom hip up. Now try to keep your rib cage down. Now, I want you to see if you can use the strength you've created to lift your top foot a little bit up off your bottom foot. Now really lift that bottom hip high. Good. Hold here for 5, 3, 1. Bring your legs back together. Don't drop. Again, pick the leg up. Lift the bottom hip. Hold for 5, 3, 1. Drop down. Last one here. Lift that leg. Hold the belly. Good for 5. And 1. Drop, and then carefully allow yourself to come on out. Okay, good. Now, if that was super, super challenging, just lifting the foot, you're gonna stay there. If you wanna try to go a little bit more, now what we're going to try to do is we're gonna try to pull the knee up to the chest. So we're gonna use those deep hip flexors to pull the leg up. Cool? If all of those seem too challenging, just practice holding a forearm side plank. Just staying still and focus on really lifting up out of the shoulder, maintaining your rib cage down, and spiraling your chest open. All right, let's try this. So come onto the right side, drop that forearm bone down, shoulder over elbow. I'm gonna step back, shift the weight to the outer edge of the right, stack the left, spiral my chest, top arm up. I don't want to collapse in the shoulder. I want to push down into the forearm bone to lift up out of it. Rib cage remains down. Now I'm going to lift my top leg, Now for 5 times, I'm going to use the hip crease to pull the knee up to the chest for 1. Extend it back out, hovering. Pull it up, 2. Extend back, hovering. Good. Pull it up, 3. Extend back, hovering. 2 more. Pull it up, 4. Extend back, hovering. Pull it up, 5. Extend back, hovering. And settle down. Awesome. Really good job, guys. If that didn't go as planned, don't worry about it. Left side. So we're going to start with just that forearm plank, and then we're going to try the foot hovering. So left side, here we go. Drop my forearm bone down to that 45-degree angle. Shoulder over elbow. I'm going to look back at my feet. Shift the weight to the outer edge of the left. Stack the top. Spiral the chest. Lift. I want to lift up out of that shoulder. Rib cage remains down. And I just want to take my top foot and I want to lift it. Lift that bottom hip. Hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Drop. Lift the foot again. Lift the bottom hip for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Drop down. Last one here. Lift it up. Lift the bottom hip. Hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Drop and come on. Awesome. Last time here, guys. Pulling the knee to the chest and then we cool down. Cool? So again, if you got the knee to the chest on the right side, let's try it on the left. Let's see how that goes. If not, hold the forearm plank or hold with just the foot lifted. Let's try 5 of them. So left arm drops, shoulder over elbow. Walk my feet, shift the weight, stack the legs, spiral the chest, lift up out of the shoulder, rib cage in. Lift that leg. Now from the hip crease, pull the knee to the chest. 1. Good. 2. Good. 3. Good. 4. Good. And 5. Good. Bottom hip high. Stack the legs. Come on out. And beautiful. Whew. All right, guys, you did it. Don't worry if that was like extremely challenging, if some things didn't come to you today. Don't worry about it. Practice makes progress. All right, now your reward. Lie on your bellies. Okay, nice and simple. Little cool down here. Okay, it's probably gonna feel really good right now. Just lying on your stomachs. So really simple here. We're just gonna kind of release the muscles in the front of the body that we've so tirelessly worked today. So all I want to do is I just want to take my left arm over my head. I want to bring my right heel to my bum. I want to reach my right arm back, grab the outer edge of my foot, pull my heel to my bum, and just rest my head down. Okay, now for some of you may not have been able to grab your foot. That's fine. Just hold it in place. Maybe just rest your chin on your hands. Whether you have the foot or not, same rules apply. We're kind of pulling that in, we're relaxing down, and we're just trying to keep both hip bones square on the floor. And I'm just trying to really focus on expanding the belly as I breathe. Okay, breath has probably been quite erratic throughout today's class. Take this opportunity to slow it down. Good. Now go ahead and release that foot. Switch sides. Right arm overhead. Left heel to bum. Reach back for the outer edge of the left foot. Pull that heel in. If you couldn't grab the foot today, just statically hold it in place. Good. Otherwise, you're grabbing. You're dropping your forehead down. You're pulling that heel in and you're just focusing on letting the belly expand. Good. And then go ahead and release that. You're going to come back up into a hands and knees position. And I just want to take a few, just cat-cows. We did a lot of rounding through the spine today. So just want to get a little bit of arching in. So you're going to come back to your hands and knees position. You're going to set those hands up just like we did in plank. You can have your toes curled under or uncurled, whatever feels better for you. Make sure your knees are under your hips, pushing the shoulder blades to the ceiling. On the inhale, we want to arch the spine. So as I in-breath, my butt scoops up, my upper back arches, I pull my chest forward and through the space between the arms. And then as I out-breath, I push the shoulder blades to the ceiling, bringing my chin to my chest, rolling my bum underneath me. Again, in-breath, I arch through that upper back. Out-breath, I push. In-breath, I arch. Out-breath, I round. Good, one more, in-breath. I arch. Out-breath, I round. Awesome. Beautiful, guys. All right, go ahead and come to a comfortable seat, whatever that might be for you. All right, guys. Just take a moment here. You can come to sit up on a block. You can just sit cross-legged. You can lie on your back if that feels better. And let's just take a few moments just to get out some breath that we've kind of been holding in as we've been tensing the abdominals, and then we'll finish up for today. So finding your seated position, whatever that might be, you can have your hands on your knees, you can have palms up, hands on your belly, whatever feels good. Maybe close your eyes. And let's just take a few guided breaths together. So whenever you're ready, let your last exhale just come out completely. And here we go. Inhale, nose. Exhale, mouth. Inhale, nose. Exhale, mouth. Inhale, nose. Exhale, mouth. Inhale, nose. Exhale, mouth. All right, take a few breaths just in and out through your nose. And just releasing all the tension that you created in your body and your face today. And then either stay where you are or maybe open your eyes. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining me for Abdominals Part 2. If you guys have any questions, concerns, feel free to prop them up right now. You can reach me at jen2ns@freeruninc.com if you have any further questions or concerns, or maybe perhaps there's a topic that you'd like to focus on in our Mobility Flow Lives. Go ahead and email me, let me know what any topics you'd like to have covered, and I'll definitely get those in for the live classes. If you have any questions, prop them up now. It'll take maybe a minute or two. So the next Mobility Flow live is going to be Sunday at 10 a.m. So we're actually going to be focusing on the glutes for Sunday at 10 a.m. So that's going to be a big class. For a lot of us, it's really hard to focus on the glutes, so we're going to do that. But also next week, we're going to be focusing on the shoulders as well. I have a few people that have contacted me about shoulder injuries that they are accruing and shoulder pain that they are accruing. So I'm going to be doing some shoulder blade positioning work and restoring the shoulder blade next week as well. Okay, so otherwise, thank you guys so much for joining in today. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you have a great Wednesday, and I'll see you guys next time. Take care of yourself and each other. Bye, guys.